There's a disconcerting thing going around out there, and you may have heard this already. I don't know. I'm starting to see it pop up in some circles. Ice Age Farmer kind of pointed this out, but I'm also starting to hear from some other people about how the USDA is asking for volunteers to publicly register their gardens. So they're asking for people's gardens. So if your garden is in any way doing anything with the public, they're asking you to register your garden with the government so you can get on this website and so it can be searchable for other people, which sounds kind of not very nefarious, but then again, kind of like, why is the USDA the one doing this? And when you look at some other agencies like, the ATF over next door to the USDA, you have to ask the question of, if the ATF is so interested in registration of things, why is the USDA trying to do the same thing but for like gardens? And with the food crisis that's coming and the food shortages that's coming, there is some serious questions about whether this registration is kind of basically a backdoor towards eventual confiscation or meddling in those gardens. So right now, it's like you just have to say, hey, we're doing something for the public. We do a training, or we allow people to come here and do some gardening, or we provide compost, or we provide stuff that we sell from the garden, and so people can buy something from us. We provide some sort of service, and they don't even seem to enforce that so much. But the question is, will they eventually start requiring more and more things that you need to do? And this is in line with the UN has a stated purpose for their 2030 plans, that they want to push urban gardening, urban food gardening. And you say, wait a minute, isn't that the same organization that is like enforcing the shutdown of rural farms? And you would be correct, because yes, the same people that are shutting down rural farms are pushing urban gardens. You say, that doesn't make any sense. Well, welcome to the UN and the reign of the Smurfdom. Yes, the Smurfs. Because the blue helmets. For those of you who don't get that. Overseas, we always call the peacekeepers Smurfs, or... Anyway, off on a tangent there. But they are the ones that are pushing these. It's all part of the WEFers and all that, the farm to fork, all that kind of stuff. It's all in there where they're really trying to push urban farming. They want all the food to be grown in the cities so that people don't have to go out in the countryside. And then they want to turn all the countryside into forests. Right? So as they depopulate the planet, the cities will become less populated, there'll be more room, and they want to turn more people's yards and all that kind of stuff like that into people's farms. Yeah, it sounds like Mao, doesn't it? Sounds like Chairman Mao over in Dragon Country back during the Great Leap Forward, where 30 million people were killed because of their farming practices. The idea of the USDA having people's gardens, the People's Garden Initiative, that's what it's called. I mean, that doesn't sound nefarious at all. They say, well, it has to do with what Abraham Lincoln, he called the USDA the People's Department or something like that. Yeah, except, nowadays when you say the People's whatever, I'm sorry, it sounds a whole lot like the People's Republic of China, or the other Democratic People's Republic of North Korea. I'm sorry, but when you say the People's something, it just sure sounds like communism flat out in the open, and for you to pick that name for the initiative really kind of communicates something. Either you're really bad at picking names and you really don't have a clue of what you're doing, you're flying by the seat of your pants and you haven't thought this through at all. But there's a lot of programming going on here that kind of makes it look like they really do know exactly what they're saying. And they're trying to create this communism utopia in the cities because, as they've said, they want to move everyone out of the countryside into these cities. And they want to shut down all the farms outside the cities. They want everybody in in controllable, confined spaces so that the planet can heal, but really so that they can control people because they're located close enough to the base of power so that their military and their police people can keep order and control over people and use technology to keep people in line in these giant camps. I mean, cities. They're concentration cities, not camps. Right, but that's what they want to do. Is they want to encourage these gardens, but they're talking about they want to encourage them, but they want to use they want oversight over how the gardens are executed and how they're worked, how they're owned. So if you put your name on this list, you are signing up for a whole bunch of bad stuff, I think. And they're really focusing on this initiative for the cities. So if you're outside the city and you're trying to get on this thing, they're not really targeting you. They want control of all the gardens in the cities for their depopulation plans, their Utopia agendas. Friends, if you think I'm sounding crazy, I sure sound crazy to me, and yet I read this stuff on their, you go to the UN website, that's where it's coming from. I went on the 2030 UN website, and that's where it is. And the WEFers, they have it right there. When you go to Farm and Fork from the European Union, it's right there. It's all spelled out what they want to do. They want to move everyone back into the cities, and they want to control the food in order to keep people in line, and they want to start tinkering with the food. They want to start adding genetic things to the food. They want to start adding chemicals to the food to make people more compliant. They want to add chemicals to the food in order to, instead of actually having to go to a place and get the pat on the shoulder, and all the boosts and everything like that, they want to put that in your food so you don't have a choice. Right? They just want to put all those chemicals and such like that in your food. That way, as you eat it, you're getting all the good nutrition and all the experimental things that they're doing to you, and you don't have a choice in the matter. But they need control over the food supply, and all these farmers doing all these things all over the rural countryside, that's just too hard to control. We need it more compact. We need industrialized food. We need everything to be genetically modified. We need to do these variants so that we can inject DNA and stuff like that into the food so that it not only grows faster and such like that, but it also has the chemicals that we want in it to be integrated into there. We also want to have the markers on the food so that we can actually see where the food is going, who's eating the food. They want to be able to track the food through the sewer systems so they can see who's eating the food and where they're eating the food, to make sure that people who aren't supposed to be getting food aren't eating the food, and if they are eating the food, where are they getting that food from? They want to be able to track that down. If that doesn't sound like some kind of dystopian novel of the future, I don't know what does, but that's what they're trying to do. A lot of the stuff is what they're trying to do. That's why they have the sewer system tracking systems now. You keep hearing that they're getting a big spike in the sewers of New York of cough cough, or they're getting a big spike in the sewer system of polio. They have sensors in the sewers, and they're doing tests on what's coming out of the sewers, and they're just scaling this up because they see that as a great opportunity to really spy on people and to really see what's going on in a population so that they can exert better and more complete control and domination over those people. So, all that to say, do not sign up your garden for this program. In fact, be very, very careful, and you need to watch this program, and we will watch this program to make sure it doesn't get super, super nefarious. It sounds shady. The name is certainly shady, but hopefully this is just bureaucratic incompetence rather than something super, super nefarious. But we will keep our eye on it either way. All right, folks, if you found this video useful, you might want to check out another video from me right here. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Steve Poplar out.